Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of In the Zone. I'm Giancarlo Aulino and joined here as always by Chris Martelli. And we got to get started here with some big news and a big conclusion to the Stanley Cup final. Colorado did it in six. They kind of goofed it in game five, but go to Tampa and defeat the defending Cup champions on their home ice. Chris, what stood out to you in this series? Because it looked like Tampa was inching closer to pushing Game 7.
Oh, who stood out to me was Valerie Nishushkin. The guy continued to just wow me every time I saw him out there. I gotta give, you know what, man? I know you love Darcy Kemper. I heckle him a bit on this show, but I gotta give the guy credit. He came into Game 6 and he shut the door down for most part of the game. Also, got to give a lot of credit to the Avs defense. They didn't really allow Tampa Bay to really get into a groove offensively in Game 6. I know in Game 5 we saw Tampa Bay just kind of come out and they basically were on top for majority of the game. They had more scoring chances, more shots. But Game 6, Tampa does score first. Steven Stamkos relatively early in the game, and then right after that, Bednar just looks at the group. He says, "Okay, we're down 1-0. We've come back from 3 goals down against Edmonton. Let's just keep it going. Just be smart and get those offensive chances." And dude, honestly, I don't know what it was. I want to say from Game 4 on, when you saw maybe halfway through the second period on, Tampa Bay just looked like they were out of gas. They looked so exhausted. The pace that Colorado brought all series just was the X factor. Like I mentioned, a lot of X factor players really stood out to me in Colorado. Was JT Compher, Valerie Nishushkin, Arturi Lehkonen, who was in the Stanley Cup final last year as well. So, there's a lot of guys there not named Rantanen and McKinnon that really did step up because, again, we mentioned before the pod went live, Nishushkin flat out probably outplayed Rantanen in the finals, which is something that I don't think any hockey fan anticipated saying after this finals was done. And I just got to give all the credit to the Colorado Avalanche, man. They came in to this Stanley Cup 2022 playoffs as one of the best teams, and they came out as the best team, and they were the winners. So you rarely talk about that. I know Florida won the Presidents, but that was just they just went up against a more experienced Tampa team. But what were your thoughts, man? I just thought that, Colorado coming in as the best team, leaving the best team, it's a rarity nowadays.
Yeah, I agree with you. Usually, we've seen so many times in the past, like when we were even in high school, how many times Washington would win the President's Trophy and then fall flat in the second round, and Ovechkin would constantly be having that his whole career that he couldn't make it through. He couldn't get past Sid, and he couldn't go to the final, and then he finally got over that. I thought Nate McKinnon was slowly going towards that direction. Like, he's been in the league. It's crazy to even think, like, 8-9 years. He's almost a decade into the league, and it's going to be creeping up on him. He's one of the best players in the league, constantly getting a ton of points for his team, relied on and leading them in scoring. And you just see what happened here. He finally has Cale Makar now step up. Nichushkin stood out. Kadri came back. And I thought this was perfect. I thought Darcy Kemper was a move that kind of put them over the hump because they had uncertainty in net for a couple years, and he brought stability back there. So I was glad to see Colorado end this Tampa Bay back-to-back run.
Yeah, now, we talk about Colorado so much, but I want to quickly talk about Tampa Bay and, the resilience that they've had throughout most of the playoffs, going up against a really, really skilled Toronto Maple Leaf team. And this was probably the year where, you had the Leafs in 5. This was probably the year where a lot of people were kind of saying, Tampa Bay kind of didn't want to face Toronto in the first round. They somehow managed to scrape it, get right by it. At Game 6, we all thought maybe Toronto had it in the bud, but, Braden Point, being as clutch as he was, got the winner. Then you go on and you see them just absolutely decimate Florida, go up and face the Rangers, Rangers, mind you, what a hell of a season for them. Like 2 years ago, they were bottom 5, and all of a sudden they're in the conference final. But, Kucherov is an incredible competitor. We've seen how angry he gets when he loses. And you know what? There's times where it looks like he's pouting, but I just love the competitiveness that this Tampa Bay roster brings. same with John Cooper, man. There were some plays that, maybe there were calls that were kind of in their favor. Like remember the Cale Makar offside a couple times there. A lot of people were saying, Tampa Bay got away with a couple calls. So did Colorado with the Kadri goal. But, a lot of people were calling John Cooper, a maniac, a guy that, can't really contain himself. I think that's just his competitive nature. They've won 2 in a row, going for 3. And, we finally saw, man, that, being in the Stanley Cup playoffs and going the distance for 3 years in a row, you just look at the physical toll that it takes. And, Maroon was struggling. It looked like he could barely skate at times. Braden Point missed 15 games in the playoffs. Cirelli played through two bad shoulders. These guys were just worn down. So I got to give all the credit to Tampa Bay. They fought to the very end. And man, I want to just quickly talk about how great Andrei Vasilevskiy is, because the guy already has 2 cups. He has a Conn Smythe. He's got, I think, 2 Vezina trophies. He's not even 30 yet. When do we start praising this guy as a potential top 5 all-time great?
Yeah, I think it's getting close to that. I know some people already started that, but you can't ignore guys like Dominic Hasek and Patrick Waugh, Marty Brodeur. They did it throughout 20 years of a career. Hasek even played overseas and played almost till 50. So I think Vasilevskiy, as he continues to get more praise and win more trophies, then he'll be in that discussion. But it's possible he'll eventually be, when he's retired, he'll be a top 5 goalie. I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, and I think he could be right there with the Flurries. I think he's right about there. Maybe at least right now too. He's just been so great. And the thing with Vasilevskiy that stands out, we all talk about the comparison with Jonathan Quick back in 2011 when he had a 960 save the whole playoffs. Dude, the guy in elimination games has a 955 to 980 save. It's uncharacteristically phenomenal. And this is a guy where I just continue to see his progression as now not even a goalie, now as a leader. We've seen, maybe the first couple playoff runs when they got swept to Columbus, you could see he was still an immature goalie. And then you see, 4 years down the line, this guy is headlining one of the best teams of all time. So Vasilevskiy has come a long way, man, as a hockey player, as an individual. I just really like this team. But, we talked about Nichushkin Kadri. I want to talk about Ondrej Palat a bit because he's a free agent this year. He was what, a goal behind Stamkos for the team leading goals in the playoffs, 12 career game-winning series clinching goals. I think that's a record in Tampa Bay history. If you're any team out there other than Tampa Bay, what are you, necessarily giving Ondrej Palat? Because, we've seen that he could be a pretty elite secondary scorer, but when it comes down to the playoffs, man, you need a guy like Ondrej Palat. So he's a free agent. What do you anticipate teams are willing to give this guy next year?
Oh, that's a tough one. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the 7.5 to 9 million range, because some teams out there are desperate. So I don't see him in Tampa unless he wants to take a pay cut. I think he should go for it. Go for the money and take advantage of this situation, because I think he played really good this year. And next year, once Point is back up to 100% and Kucherov and Stamkos even still, I think he's capable of it. Maybe Palat's numbers will go down. So I don't think he'll get another opportunity like this for a while. So if I'm him, maybe he looks at it like, I won the cups here in Tampa. It's been nice. Take advantage of your situation and make that money and think of your family and financial stability going forward.
Yeah, I love it because the guy's, I think he's 30 now, 29, 30, and he's been in the league for this next year will be his 10th year. So I don't know about 7.5 mil. I think 6 mil would be nice. Maybe, let's say something doesn't work out with Fiala in Minnesota or Forsberg in Nashville. Maybe they can go out there. Yeah, he's not going to be he's not going to get 75 points, but let's say you guys make the playoffs in that first wild card. You're taking on maybe, Edmonton or a Colorado next year. Ondrej Palat can give those teams nightmares. So if I'm Minnesota specifically, if the Devils are going to trade the second pick for a guy like a Fiala or one of those type of players, I'm definitely, if I'm Minnesota, I'm going all in for a guy like Andre Palat. Now he's not the sexiest name, but he's a guy that can get you to the Cup final. But I want to quickly just ask you too. Like Cale Makar, dude, is 23 years old. He's got a Hobby Baker Award. He's got a Conn Smythe. He's got a Stanley Cup. He's got a Norris Trophy. Like, is this guy like? Is he gonna go down as? Is he right now a top three player in the league? Because this league is loaded with talent. But when I look at Makar, oh man, like the defenseman, like the level of excellence in terms of the D, he's in a league of his own, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I think I wouldn't say top three just because like going against the forwards it's hard. Like McDavid, Draisaitl, Matthews, like those kind of guys, it's going to be hard. But I would definitely put him like position for position. He's in the top 10 and best player in the league. For his position, I'd put him with Yossi 1 and 2, like 1A, 1B type of thing, because those two guys, what they're able to do as defensemen is crazy. And they like even Yossi plays on Nashville, which kind of a balanced team. It's not like a Colorado where they're all offense. So I think those two are the most impressive defensemen of this era right now.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, Hedman's there too, obviously, but yeah, Yossi, I like how you gave him some love there because I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought he was the Norris winner. He put up 90 points with Nashville this year, and just all in all, like Pagniello has mentioned numerous times throughout the years, like consistently night in, night out. If I'm a forward, the one D that I do not want to go up against is Roman Yossi. This is a guy that's just he's just defensively, positionally sound. He's never really out of position. He can kill you on the power play. He can just actively stick check you all the damn time, make your night miserable. So I really like how you brought up Roman Yossi there. I don't think he gets enough credit, but I want to quickly talk too about the draft, man, the NHL draft. I don't know if you've been seeing any of the rumors, but I've definitely been because you know me, I'm a bit of a Devils fan. That was my team growing up. They have the second pick in this year's draft. Shane Wright is looking like the number one pick for the Montreal Canadiens. That Czech scoring winger is looking like a Patrick Laine type of player, but there have been rumors, Aulino, that the Devils are looking to trade the second overall pick, and they're looking to get a guy like that's big time, like a Fiala, like a Pasternak. So if you're the Devils, are you going all in and are you making this draft night entertaining as hell, or are you going to keep the pick and continue to go with the trend with this young stud forwards? Because if I'm the Devils, I think at this point you got to trade it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's good to keep your options open. I think the Devils are in a nice spot where they got some nice young players and they have a few veterans on the team that really fit in with what they want to do. So it's not like they have a contract just holding them back. And Subban, they can probably find a number if he wants to stay, and if they want to keep him, they don't have to pay him like $6 million again. So I think it opens up a lot of possibilities. I think they should look at guys like Pasternak because of what Boston's doing, and probably Bergeron. If he's not going there, he's likely to go into free agency. So take advantage of Boston. If you can get Pasternak, and then they'll rebuild, and who knows what they'll get for Marchand. That would speed up for them. But if you don't get Pasternak, I would actually go to Chicago and try and get Patrick Kane or even Jonathan Taves at a reduced salary, because I think the pick will make things for Chicago. They're going to have to question everything. So those are two other options. Obviously, Kane would be the better option to get if you can retain the salary, give the second overall pick, and package up some other names. So if it's not him, I'd definitely go with Pasternak.
Dude, that would be absolutely wild. That's like Papa Bear and like Little Bear right there with Patrick Kane and Jack Hughes. Like that would be absolutely ridiculous. I another name too, bro. Like you said the two big guys. Another big guy on Chicago that's been linked is DeBrincat. He's another guy that's been linked to that second overall pick. And you said it perfectly. Chicago needs that. They need that number two pick. Out of all the teams in the Western Conference, other than Arizona, obviously, Chicago needs that. They need that pick. Kirby Doc, unfortunately, when he did break, I think he broke his leg 2 years ago. That really took a big blow to his development. And, he still has time. He's 23, 22 years old. But, they're not waiting anymore. Even DeBrincat, he's only 25 years old, and they're already saying, okay, it's time to move on. We're trying to, build a really good core foundation that will be loyal. And I guess they don't see that with DeBrincat. So, I do agree there. I mean, Patrick Kane has also been linked to the New York Rangers, a big time market, big time player. It's look, dude. Honestly, I don't really know what to expect with the Rangers this summer. I know apparently it's supposed to be a clusterfuck. There's supposed to be a lot of big changes. I mean, Shesterkin obviously is the pinnacle there. He's the guy that steers everything. But Adam Fox signed a really good contract. Ryan Strome is a free agent. I don't really know if they're going to have, the means to sign him. Um, your boy Capo Caco, I don't really know what to expect with him. He's going to be an RFA if they don't, come to terms. Are you going all out to get Patrick Kane? Like, if I'm the Rangers looking at the history he has with Panarin, I think if he's unhappy with Chicago, I mean, go to another original six, man. I think that would be perfect for Kane.
Yeah, I think if you're the Rangers, maybe Capo Caco is the guy that you add in that trade package, and you add some first rounders or future considerations and prospects. But I think Capo Caco would have to be the center of that deal, just because even though he's been not living up to expectations, he still has upside as a big guy who, in the World Championships before he got drafted, was playing amazing. So they'll probably go with potential and look at Kane as like, okay, he's got probably a year left at 10.5. Let's cut our losses there, and he can move on to this stage of his career.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, like we talk like when I think of the Rangers, I think of kind of like the Celtics, like very similar. They have a lot of young guys, but they're already good. Like you could even trade Kako and Braden Schneider in a trade, and maybe like Kevon Miller, and there it is right there. There's Patrick Kane coming to New York. So I don't think it would be too hard, especially for a team that's looking to rebuild in Chicago. I mean, yeah, they got Seth Jones, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is the year." You get Seth Jones for 7 years, and unfortunately, it just did not work out. So it's going to be interesting to see those specific teams. But I want to quickly also just talk about like what the hell has been going on with like I don't understand, dude, what is going on in New York with the Islanders, but apparently they are trying to ship out their 13th overall pick. They're trying to get Josh Anderson, which I don't really know if I would even give up the 13th overall pick for a Josh Anderson. Barry Trotz dipped. Like I really don't know what to expect with the Islanders. Do you see the Islanders, Aulino, being like the Blackhawks, or is that just way too harsh for the Islanders at this point?
Oh, I see the Islanders just being the New Jersey Devils. I think they're going to go in that direction. Get all the veterans, and they already have the similar guys there, all that chemistry. Palmieri, Parise. You got Lou Lamoriello up top. So
Spring Barty Brodeur in that.
they got a lot of New Jersey Devil flavor in that organization. I think they'll turn it around if you can keep Barzell with a guy that has skill that he can at least play with and produce. I think they'll be fine. It's just going to be a couple years. I think they'll be in a Carolina Hurricane situation eventually.
All right, and last but not least, before we move on, I want to quickly talk about the Oilers because, man, it's looking like Marc-Andre Fleury does not want to go and play there. He's basically verbalized that online. And you're talking about a guy who's a free agent in Kyler Yamamoto and Jesse Puljujarvi. Do you think they realistically have the means to sign both of them, or do you think one of them is going to break bank, kind of like what we've seen in Colorado with, Lehkonen, with Nichushkin? Like, are they going to keep both, or do you think one of them is gone this year?
Yeah, I think Puljujarvi, like if I would pick out of the two, maybe Puljujarvi has more upside, but Yamamoto seems to fit their group right now and seems to gel more with the other lines than Puljujarvi whenever he played. So it's going to come down to who wants to sign for less money, because Edmonton's a team like already Fleury. He's not fucking going there. And you look at McDavid and Draisaitl, like if you can get a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury to come to your market with two of the best players in the world, something's definitely wrong. And I think that's going to be something concerning, where the only way they can acquire a player is through a trade.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if it's like Ken Holland. I don't know if teams just don't like him, like because he's been in the league for like 2 decades now. I don't know if they don't like. Maybe they think it's an old school style of management, but like here's the other question, man. Like we've always been talking about Campbell with Edmonton. Like, is that the only option at this point for them? Because if it's not Marc-Andre Fleury, Cam Talbot, I don't think wants to go back there. Like, who the hell is it? Is it going to be like a Binnington or Gibson? Because Gibson even voiced that he probably doesn't want to go to the Leafs. So I guess maybe it's John Gibson. But other than that, man, I don't really know with them with the goaltending situation.
Yeah, the thing with Gibson that they're lucky with, they can trade him and he wouldn't have a choice. So that's the only way I think they can get a superstar or somebody that can be stable back there, is if they make a trade and overpay a little bit to get that guy to come in.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting, man. Because again, like Crosby's prime never got wasted. Thank God. Tavares's did, unfortunately, and I don't want to see McDavid's prime get wasted. Because man, what we've seen, like he led the freaking scoring in the playoffs. Like, come on, man. Like, I just want to see Edmonton strive. I want to see him get a goalie. But let's move on to the NBA draft. We saw it last Thursday. Aulino, I want you to quickly talk about the top three. What did you think about it? You had Paolo Banchero go number one. I mentioned before the pod, a little surprising. Not going to lie, I didn't have him going number one. I thought Jabari Smith would be the number one pick. I think he has the most upside out of all of them. I think he has the complete package. But what were your thoughts overall, man, on the top three? Were you surprised? Were you caught off guard?
Oh yeah, I was caught off guard with Banchero. Like, good player. I thought just everyone hyping up the draft. It seemed like Holmgren and Smith would be either the one going first overall. So them going kind of off the board. Like, I know he's a good player, but the way that I saw a lot of mock drafts having him going to Houston, even going down as sixth or fifth, depending on the fit there. But yeah, him going first overall. And I looked online too. Italian heritage. So Banchero is the first Italian first overall pick in NBA since Andrea Bargnani, our boy Primo Pasta.
That's a round of applause right there. That's good. I have a Bargnani jersey, just so everybody out there knows now. Huge fan of that guy growing up. That guy used to just hit those threes. He was one of the first big guys to hit the threes, no? He was just
ahead of his time.
The perimeter.
No, never rebound. That wasn't his thing. But I think if he played now, that's a solid player. I think he'd fit in better in this era.
Yeah, dude, it's unfortunate when he went out. He went out just when Porzingis was like coming in and making threes. It's like, nah, man, just wait. Like, you could probably play another 3 years. And he just dipped. I think he went back to Italy. But yeah, dude, I love how you brought that up. I think Banchero could still be really good. I mean, we saw what Coach K said about him before he got drafted, or no, after he got drafted, saying he thinks he's one of the most complete players that Duke has ever produced, which is that's a huge compliment. They've had a lot of great players come out of Duke, but I mean, Banchero with Orlando is going to be interesting. They have Wendell Carter, they have Franz Wagner, they have a lot of good players, Jalen Suggs. Like, this is a team, I know we've been bashing them for years. Like, I think maybe in a year or two, that's when the expectations have to kind of start going up. But, dude, like, I know you mentioned you had Chet Holmgren going number one. I think him going to OKC was like a complete lock for me. I think he was linked to the Thunder for the longest time. He has a very similar work ethic, and he just looks like Andre Pokuševski, the guy that's already on the team. They have the same frame, same kind of toolbox. I think Chet Holmgren, though, dude, like, if he puts on muscle, he could be like a Kevin Durant. Like, that is his potential. I think he could be one of the greatest big scorers we've ever seen in the game, but he has to, put in that work to gain that muscle. Because if he doesn't gain that muscle, man, he's going to get absolutely annihilated. And that's what makes me get to Jabari Smith, who has the muscle. He has all the skill in the world. He shot 38% last year from three. He's got a great, fresh stroke. And then, of course, you have his interior game, dude, is incredible. Like, he looks like from the outside, he looks like he could be almost like a Siakam. Like, maybe the first couple of years he'll shoot like 32 from three, but inside he looks like a DeAndre Ayton, just absolutely dominant inside. So, they got rid of Christian Wood. You get Jabari Smith there. I think it was just a home run, I think, for the Rockets.
Yeah, and then Benedict Mathurin. I fucking love this guy. He goes to a small market like Indiana, and just what he said and his confidence, I think he's going to bring so much attention to that team that it's going to turn into a big market. So he's already. If I'm the owner of that team, I'd say just talk all you want, as long as you can play well, and everything will come here because they're gonna get so much attention now every time he plays, and even when they play the Lakers at home, that's gonna get a lot of attention. So good for him bringing attention to the small market in Indiana.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love that pick too because I thought if the Raps were going to trade, like we mentioned last week, if they were going to trade with Portland for the seventh pick, I'm like, you have to take the Canadian there. And guess what? He didn't even make it to seven. So, I mean, his confidence is at an all-time high, obviously, as you could see, calling out LeBron already. But yeah, dude, I'm not going to lie. If they do what Charlotte did this year in year one with Benedict Mathurin, I would not be surprised because we all see, dude, Halliburton is already must see. He's probably one of the better playmakers that I've seen in a very long time. He gives me Steve Nash type of vibes. Benedict Mathurin, dude, looks like he could be that dominant shooting guard, like that guy that can get you, like a Zach LaVine kind of, like that guy that can get you 25 points. I don't know if it's going to be in year one, but maybe year three, year four. I love Benedict Mathurin, man. I think he could be one of the biggest steals. But, dude, how about Jaden Ivey going fifth to Detroit? Like, Detroit, dude, has it nice now. They get Jaden Ivey. The guy's been compared to John Morant. Like, the Sacramento Kings again. Like, I don't know why like, I know Keegan Murray's probably the most pro-ready. But, like, come on, man. You got to take Jaden Ivey. If you have Jaden Ivey with De'Aaron Fox, that's just a nightmare on the backcourt. And then the Halliburton trade wouldn't look that bad, but they take Keegan Murray here, basically going to replace Harrison Barnes in the long run, but that's about it, man. Like, I don't know if he's going to be a superstar. Jaden Ivey going to Detroit with Sadiq Bey and Cade Cunningham. Damn, man, this team is looking nice, Detroit.
Yeah, happy for Dwayne Casey. Like he goes there and he had Blake Griffin, and it looked like he can turn it around, and everybody ends up getting injured. Drummond ends up like not even producing, and they trade him, and it just was awful for the poor guy. So at least he has something positive to look forward to.
And I quickly want to talk about before we get into Money in the Bank. How about number 27 overall? Can you say that guy's name? Looks really similar to another name that we've seen.
Nikola Jovic.
Dude, that guy's going to be a problem. I don't know how he went 27th. That to me is like kind of the eye opener there, but he's got all the talent, man. He's, like I mentioned, he's a 6'11 small forward. This is going to be a guy that's going to bring a completely different dynamic to Miami. I don't know if he's going to play that much next year, but the guy's special. I think he has special written all over him. I think he's going to be a home run pick as well. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. I think it's going to be probably like learning curves for him, but it might be a while before we see like actual production like paying off there.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love it for Miami because like they're just a team. They're in win now mode, and they've been in win now mode for what, like 3-4 years. So when you see them get a pick like this, it's like, oh, that's going to be nice in a couple of years when maybe they're not as good. When guys like Kyle Lowry leave, Jimmy Butler's not not in his physical prime anymore. But dude, like having Jovic and maybe Bam in his prime, that's gonna be interesting to see for sure.
Hopefully he shoots more than Bam.
Oh, yeah, Bam was pulling a Rudy Gobert, in the playoffs. Oh man.
But yeah, Money in the Bank you mentioned there this Saturday, because I don't know, they like changing dates all the time, so it's going to be hard getting used to. They got 2 pay-per-views, or premium live events are calling them, in July. They kick it off July 2nd, and then at the end of the month they go in the stadium for SummerSlam, and it's looking good for them. Not the best of cards, but you got Brock Lesnar coming back. I guess they had to be forced into that situation with everyone getting injured. But now there's this Money in the Bank ladder match that mostly is unpredictable, I guess, for the men's side. The women's side, there's probably 1 or 2 that stick out. But in the men's, pull this graphic up here. You got Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Omos, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, and a mystery opponent. So who do you like in this, and who do you hope that mystery opponent ends up being?
Shane McMahon, 100%. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, no. Who do I hope it's going to be? I want to say AJ Styles. I think he's a guy that, he's won so many different accolades in WWE history, but, he doesn't have a money in the bank. So I think that would be, and, just the history that he has with guys like Seth Rollins, with Drew McIntyre, with even Sheamus, and even Sami Zayn. He has like history with all of them. So I think that would be a great addition to the match. But knowing them, I mean, they specific like I mean, do you consider Drew McIntyre like a big guy? I guess you do in this spot. They usually have two guys, so Omos and Drew are those guys. But you know what, dude? I'm just gonna stick with Matt Riddle winning. I think he's got all the momentum in the world now. Specifically, I think I mentioned this like as long as a month ago when Randy got injured. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Riddle gets in there and gets the Money in the Bank. We haven't really seen anything with Finn Balor's faction there, Judgment Day. So my original prediction was to probably see Damian Priest win Money in the Bank and maybe have, well, dude, there it is. Maybe Finn Balor's the other guy that could be in it. I'm not really sure, but I'm just gonna stick with AJ Styles. But I'm gonna say Matt Riddle is the winner here.
Yeah, I like that pick. If it's not Riddle and they want to maybe have him chase a title, I wouldn't be surprised if Seth wins it and cashes in the main event because it's last man standing. You protect both guys. You have Seth come in, cash in, and then pin either Brock or Roman and take the WWE title. So like that, you don't have two titles on one guy anymore because it really hasn't worked out, I think, the way they wanted it to. So I'll go Seth there. But if there were two champions, I wouldn't have been surprised if Omos was the guy to win it just to build a new star.
Oh God. I mean, you know what's awesome, man, too? Like the surprising thing for me with this prediction, dude, we didn't even mention Drew, and he's been kind of on the back burner for a while now. Would you be surprised if he was a guy to kind of win here instead of Seth Rollins?
I think if they want to do him versus Roman when they go to the UK stadium, I think having the Money in the Bank, maybe they can pull an RVD type of thing where he said he's going to cash in and that's the match, but that might piss off the fans over there a little bit too much if he loses like that. So I think they'll just build the one-on-one where he wins like a number one contender and faces Roman at that event.
Yeah, dude, I like that too. They're trying like I don't like when it's predictable like that. I like when superstars cash in, like out of nowhere. That's the whole point of the briefcase. That's why I didn't like when Sandow came out and just challenged Cena. That was kind of like a face move, and then he lost. And even the whole thing with John Cena with Big Show, just like those just did not result in good storylines and just good like just end results. So I do like your opinion there. I think, a guy like a Riddle who could maybe cash in out of nowhere on like a Roman Reigns. I think he could do that and people would absolutely love it, like what Ziggler did to Del Rio those years ago. Or you have Seth Rollins do it again because, he's one of those snarky, crafty heels. So I love it. I love the prediction, dude, either way. Those are the two guys that I'm leaning here, Rollins or Riddle, but I'll go with Matt.
Can you imagine if Sami Zayn would have win it? Because he was saying that he's like an honorary member of the Bloodline and he steals the title from the Bloodline.
Damn it, man. I wish, but that's not happening. Would you, okay, like now that this is kind of like, would you be surprised if, like, who do you think is more likely? Is it like, because they've been really focusing on Ezekiel and Elias. Can you see him being the last guy to enter this match?
That would be interesting if he comes in. But then I think Kevin Owens would have to get involved and take him out of it.
Yeah, fuck. Dude, I don't know. I think I'm more intrigued about who the last guy is in the whole match.
Oh, then the women's match is you got Liv Morgan in there, Lacey Evans, the usual names too that we've seen in the past. It's kind of looking like some of the other ones that they put in, but Becky Lynch, I think, kind of sticks out of this match just because she's on a bit of a losing streak, and if they want to have her hold the briefcase for a year, like or up to WrestleMania, I think they could make it work. But do you think that would take away from the overall like briefcase's appeal if she holds it on and she's going to cash in for a match at WrestleMania?
I mean, The beauty of Money in the Bank, and at least over the years, dude, is that they've got a completely different. They've gone with completely different narratives. Like remember that one year they went with Randy Orton to win, and he won it, and then they went with, John Cena winning it, and then they went with Dolph Ziggler, who again that was a great moment for him, but like dude, like even look at 2015, they had Sheamus win. He had no business that year winning a Money in the Bank. So they've gone with a lot of different. They've gone a lot of different ways. Alexa Bliss has won it already. Bailey won it. A couple others, but to me, I think when you look at the way that they've structured this match specifically, I think this might be one of the best ways they've ever done it. Like you have Shotzi Blackheart, who is an up and comer. Rodriguez is another girl that I really have no idea what her ceiling is. It's kind of refreshing not seeing Shayna or Rhea Ripley in this because they've been, headlining for a while now. So again, Liv Morgan, she's been that babyface doll for a long time. Will she finally get her moment? That's another storyline. Oscar's been off for a long time. Lacey's been off for a long time. Alexa Bliss has been off for a long time. So, like, there's a lot of question marks here, but I like what you mentioned there. When you just look at Becky Lynch in the top left corner, she just stands out she's a superstar among women here. So, I'm going to go with Becky Lynch here to win. I just think this is the safe bet. I think they're going to go with the Kane approach here, man, like what they did in 2010. He won, and then he cashed in immediately. I think that's going to happen here. I think Becky Lynch, you could tell, man, just like with her character, I don't think she has any patience. I think she's just going to go out and she's going to cash in on either Ronda or Bianca. I hope it's Bianca because I just love the program that those two have had. I see Bianca, dude. I mean, I see Becky, dude, by the end of the night being the women's champion again.
Oh man, imagine if they go like, I don't know. Are you a fan of those, like the same night cash-ins, or would you like it to be like Raw or just on TV?
I mean, it depends what kind of if you're talking to a Bianca fan or not. Like I don't really mind it. I know Bianca, remember last year we talked about her SummerSlam debacle where she got squashed and she had like the year of her life. This is different, man. Like you mentioned, Becky's on a losing streak. She hasn't been on a losing streak since what, 2017? Like she's been on top for a long time. So I don't know if this is just a downward spiral where she's going to completely go into like Randy Orton '09 vibes or she just loses her mind. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I mean, I specifically don't mind it just because we know what we're getting with Becky as the top champion. We know what we're getting with Bianca as the challenger. And Carmella, really, man, like if that's the best that they can do for Bianca at this stage, I gotta go full on panic mode and have Becky get the belt again.
Yeah, I see it. That would make sense.
Like, I gotta ask you though, like, would you be surprised? Because I have a hunch too. I could see Asuka winning it.
I think that if she wins, they can do like a long-term thing, like where she doesn't have to cash in the night of, and it could open the door maybe for a heel turn. But I don't know. The more with this losing streak, they keep bringing it up too much on TV, where I think they'll probably lean towards either Becky winning or fresh face and Liv Morgan winning it, and then probably feuding with Becky for the next couple months.
So who do you have, buddy?
I'll go still with Liv Morgan winning it, but dark horse would be Becky Lynch.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't think Shotzi's winning it though, unfortunately.
No, no.
She's a good addition. It's going to be a good, I guess, matchup for her to show that she can hold her own with some of these women and get some more TV time there on SmackDown. But yeah, her, Lacey Evans, Raquel, and Alexa, I don't see winning this match.
Shotzi's gonna be like the Shelton Benjamin in this match.
Run off the ladder, jump off the springboard onto it.
She's gonna have like the craziest spot. Everyone's gonna be talking about how great she was, but she's never gonna win a Money in the Bank.
Maybe one day.
Oh man.
But what do you think of Brock and Roman for the 100,000th time? This time being last man standing at SummerSlam. Do you think if Seth Rollins wins, it's going to be like right away? SummerSlam's ending like that, or do you think it would help if Riddle or Rollins win it, and maybe that match will go on as planned at SummerSlam?
I think they perfectly set this up. I think what's the word? They promoted it early on purpose Lesnar and Roman because they knew before, like, if you're going to promote this before Money in the Bank, you look at now Riddle and Rollins in the Money in the Bank, the Money in the Bank match. Like, I think it excites fans. Honestly, I think they're smart here. Yes, it's for the 100,000th time with Brock and Roman, but if you have a Matt Riddle or a Seth Rollins, looming, I think that makes the match and the narrative so much more intriguing, especially with Rollins, where he's done it literally to those two guys before. So, we talked about this narrative even at WrestleMania. Remember at the Rumble when it was Seth Rollins, where he was kind of like a tweener. We didn't know if he was a face, came out in the Shield theme, going up against Roman Reigns. He came up short, and we were saying, wait, who is Seth Rollins in a face? And eventually it was Cody Rhodes, but there was that hunch where it's like maybe it's Seth versus Roman versus Brock because they've had that history. So you're gonna get that at Money in the Bank. You're gonna have Seth potentially win, man. Maybe this is all just to have that match be so much better, and I think that's the smart approach here because again, like they fucking promoted the shit out of it for WrestleMania, and I don't know if anybody's gonna really buy into if they were just to promote it again, just as those two specifically. So, I mean, it is different. It's a last man standing match. I mean, whatever. I don't know how long that's gonna be. It could be 20 minutes. It's a Brock Lesnar match, so probably like no more than 10 minutes. But like I mentioned, dude, with Riddle or Rollins looming, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that could be a nice ending to SummerSlam and get some interest back on both shows and hopefully take out having both champions or both championship belts on one guy.
Yeah, they have to do that, man, because I mean, I thought Roman was gonna be full time, but I guess not. So, I mean, I kind of like it because, dude, he's above and beyond the best, I think, in the company right now, and limiting him to minimal appearances, I think makes his appearances like that much more important. So I think they're doing it right, but just giving him both belts, I think is just terrible timing. So even with the pec injury with Cody, I think he would have been the right guy, to take down Roman.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that was a fun week. We talked about the Cup final, NBA draft, and WWE Money in the Bank. Next week, we'll see some news there coming out with the NHL draft coming up. How many trades are popping up there? NBA free agency popping up. So we'll see even more player movement, and we'll find out who's the Money in the Bank winners of both the men and women, and hopefully we'll activate Pagniello off the LTIR. So
Let's go.
Giancarlo Aulino here. That's Chris Martelli signing off.